He didn't rule from a grand palace. He didn't build vast libraries. His throne was a saddle, and his empire was built on the move. He led an army that advanced faster than any civilization could track. A storm of hooves and arrows that struck terror into the hearts of kingdoms from Eastern Europe to the Pacific Ocean. This is the story of Genghis Khan, the man who began his life as a powerless tribal outcast and ended it as the founder of the largest contiguous land empire the world has ever seen. It was an empire forged entirely from horseback, blood and revolutionary speed. Born around the year 1162, he was given the name Temüjin. His early life wasn't one of privilege. It was a brutal struggle defined by tragedy and hardship. After his father, a minor chieftain, was poisoned by a rival tribe, Temujin's own clan abandoned him, his mother, and his siblings. They were left to fend for themselves in the unforgiving wilderness of the Mongolian steppe. He learned to hunt, to fight, and to survive against all odds. His youth was marked by capture and enslavement, experiences that forged in him an unbreakable iron will and an absolute hatred for disloyalty and betrayal. He spent the following years not inheriting power, but earning it. He didn't rely on bloodlines. He gathered followers based on skill, merit, and loyalty. Slowly, painstakingly, he began to unite the fractious, warring nomadic tribes under a single banner. At a great tribal meeting, a Kurultai in 1206, he was formally proclaimed Genghis Khan, universal ruler. The world was about to change forever. Genghis Khan's army wasn't built on overwhelming numbers, but on something far more potent: speed, discipline, and psychological warfare. He systematically shattered the old, unstable tribal loyalties that had plagued the steppes for centuries. He reorganized his entire society and military into decimal units groups of 10, 100, and 1,000. This genius move ensured that a soldier's primary loyalty was not to his old clan, but directly to his commander and, ultimately, to the Khan himself. His most devastating military innovation was the mastery of the feigned retreat. Imagine this: Mongol cavalry would charge an enemy line, engage briefly, and then pretend to panic and flee. The enemy, sensing an easy victory, would break formation and give chase. This was the trap. Once the pursuing army was stretched out and disorganized, the Mongol horsemen would suddenly turn, reform their lines, and annihilate the scattered enemy with a devastating hail of arrows from their powerful composite bows. This very tactic was central to legendary victories, like the Battle of the Kalka River in 1223, where his generals utterly crushed a much larger, combined Russian-Cuman force. The Mongols rarely fought a fair fight. They fought smart, they fought fast, and they cultivated a reputation for absolute ruthlessness. Often, the mere news of their approach was enough to make entire cities surrender without a fight, saving them precious time and resources. From the mighty Jin dynasty in China to the sprawling Khwarezmian Empire in Central Asia, no kingdom could stand in his way. The Mongol conquests were swift and often brutal, wiping out vast populations that dared to resist. Yet, his empire was more than just destruction. In the wake of his conquests, he inadvertently created what historians call the Pax Mongolica, the Mongol Peace. For roughly a century, a period of relative stability and order settled across the massive territories under Mongol rule. Genghis Khan established the Yam, a sophisticated and highly efficient postal relay system with stations and fresh horses, allowing messengers and merchants to travel with unprecedented speed and safety. He practiced religious tolerance, a rare policy for the time, allowing Christians, Muslims, and Buddhists to live and worship freely within his empire. Crucially, he secured and protected the ancient Silk Road. For the first time in centuries, goods, technologies, and ideas like gunpowder, the compass, and printing could travel safely from east to west, sparking an enormous cultural and economic exchange that would reshape the world. In a strange paradox, the vastness of his empire was also its eventual undoing. It was simply too large for any one person to rule directly. Genghis Khan died in 1227 during a campaign, and to this day his final burial site remains one of history's greatest and most enduring secrets, exactly as he wished. His methods were undeniably brutal, and the human cost of his conquests was staggering. Yet, his empire connected the medieval world in a way no one had before, unintentionally kickstarting a form of globalization centuries before the term was even invented. He was a force of nature who tore down old worlds, but in doing so, paved the way for new global connections. His story leaves us with a difficult and dark question. Can destruction ever lead to progress? What are your thoughts on the Pax Mongolica and its legacy? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe to see which historical giant we cover next.